What's up, YouTube? Okay, so to give a little background, I already recorded this video, but I want to kind of give the reason what I was doing. I was trying to sell the Clean SE, and I noticed there was some oil around the valve cover, and so I figured, I should probably change the valve cover gasket. Once I changed the valve cover gasket, it started to smoke a little bit, and this is a video of me trying to figure out what's going on, doing a compression test, and the troubles that happened with that. What's up, guys? All right, today we're going to change the valve cover, and obviously we're going to take off the negative battery cable. Unplug the spark plugs, take the spark plugs out. I put some cloth in there for now because I took them out the other day. We're gonna take off this, vacuum hose. And I'm gonna take off the spark plug wire retainers just to get a little more space. You need 10 millimeter. And take all these off. And to be able to get to this back one, might take these ground wires off.
Let's begin now. Let's begin now.
Alright, I got the valve cover off, and as you can see, it's not too bad, but this one actually was a little bit, it didn't seem like it was on very tight. This one was, and the gasket I just pulled off and it just broke into pieces. So that might have part of it. And on these bolt holes, you can see they have a bunch of oil on them. I'm pretty sure that's the leak, so I'm gonna have to take a razor and clean this up, get all this gasket maker stuff off, and then put it back in. Alright, so working on cleaning the edges, especially around here where the gasket sealer was, and along this edge, get this nice and clean. And what was a real pain was getting those two divots way back here, getting those with the and these two things on the back, getting all that gasket sealer off. That was a real pain. Now I'm gonna make sure the valve cover is clean. So you come over here, just cleaning it earlier, checking in the edges, getting any residue. Take a little razor to it and get a little more off. This looks pretty clean, and then get the gasket on and put it back on. So now that I got the valve cover all cleaned up, have the spark plug gasket, line it up, and this just pushes on. Good just sits in the just sits in the creases that it has. And that should hold it when you turn it upside down and put it on the engine or on the head. All right, I'm looking at putting some gasket sealer here. Put some here on either side. I'm going to put just a little dab here where these two surfaces meet, and then on the back as well. So after a lot of trouble getting the back of this gasket on, finally got it on, got it torqued down, bolted back up the two grounds and the spark plug wires. Now I got to put the plugs in and the battery cable back on and start it up. Okay, well, here's a good time to pause. The trouble started here. The first thing that ended up happening is the shop towels ended up, I had them too far down and they got sandwiched in between where the valve cover goes on and the head. And I torqued them down and then I couldn't pull out the first two shop towels. So I had to undo the bolts again to get the shop towels out. And when I pulled them out, one of the spark plug gaskets, where the gasket seals at the spark plug, kind of rolled off where it was supposed to be held onto. And I started to torque it down again and noticed a big gap. So I had to undo the bolts again. And from then it just went downhill.
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
At this point, there's a lot of smoke.
Is that all you got?
And there's a couple options I could do. I decided to go ahead and try to run a compression test just to make sure it wasn't the piston rings.
The gas pedal and start.
Okay. So as you can see, it wasn't holding any pressure, and the reason for this was this piece here it wasn't closing, or it was missing a piece. It wasn't working, and that was just one issue.
Well, it got stuck and it broke off.
I know it's kind of hard to see in this picture, but what had happened is I put the compression tester down inside the spark plug, just, hand tight, no tighter than that. And I guess with the engine warm, it leaned up against the engine and started melting it. I don't know. I tried to pull it out and it just pulled right out and broke off, and the other piece was stuck in my engine. I'd like to thank O'Reilly's for taking the part back and putting it under their warranty. And for part 2 of actual fixing this, stay tuned. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.